Hello and welcome to my channel, In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne and today we're going to go on a road trip. Today I am drinking out of a cup I bought at a thrift store in Missouri. When my family goes on road trips, we do a lot of 3 or 4 things. We go to small towns, small historic old towns. We love those. We go to coffee shops. We go to bookstores frequently. I very often go to libraries, but we also very often also go to thrift stores. And I got this cute little mug for 50 cents at a thrift store somewhere in the middle of Missouri. So yes, we are going on a road trip to Missouri today. There is nothing more American and nothing more summer than a road trip. And I was so excited earlier this year when Em at Em's Books Are Everywhere made a road trip tag. Right then and there when I watched her video, I decided that was how I wanted to do my road trip that I'd already planned for later in the summer at that point. So here we go. We are going to go on our road trip to Missouri, and along the way we are going to answer the prompts for Em's tag. Here we go. I hope you enjoy.
Here we are on the road again, ready for Missouri.
Here we go.
And prompt number 1 is On the Road Again, a book that you have reread or will reread. I did not used to be much of a rereader, but in the past couple of years, I have been writing lists of books that I want to reread because either I've forgotten everything about them, although I know that I liked them, or if I think maybe my perspective might have changed on them, or I just want to experience them again. So this year, one of my goals is to finish rereading the entire Anne of Green Gables series, and I have 2 left, Rainbow Valley and Rilla of Ingleside. Thoroughly enjoying these rereads. I also want to reread Shirley by Charlotte Bronte because it's been a while since I've read it. I've only read it once and I remember nothing about it except that I did enjoy it. So I want to reread that one. I also want to reread The Woman in White because I read that one many, many years ago as a teenager. Absolutely loved it. Like I devoured it in a few days. But I don't remember anything about it. People talk about it nowadays, and I'm like, wow, yep, don't remember a blessed thing about that book. And The Phantom of the Opera, I want to reread because I'm not sure if I would still like it. I remember really liking it when I read it when I was a young adult, but I'm not sure that I still would like it as much as I did back then. So those are the books that I have immediate plans to reread. Prompt number 2 is Pitstop. And here we are, Buc-ee's. Very recently, a brand new Buc-ee's was opened about 2 hours from us. And can I tell you, some people I know made special trips out there. We didn't do that, but we certainly made a point of stopping there on our way to Nashville to visit my sister. But the prompt for the book is a book that refuels you. And I have to say, of course, the Bible, but more specifically, the Psalms. And this summer, I have been reading a devotional version of Charles Haddon Spurgeon's book's commentary, I guess, on the Psalms. And there is a devotional reading based on that's taken from Charles Haddon Spurgeon's writings on the Psalms from his commentaries for that specific psalm. And then there is the text of the psalm, and there's wide margins and space for you to write notes and prayers. And that has just been incredibly rejuvenating and refreshing for me this summer. I have had a stressful summer, and it's just been so life-giving to read these Psalms and to take those Psalms and turn them into my own prayers. The Psalms are a fantastic tool for just giving you words for your prayer life. So that's my choice for this prompt.
All right, we are in a little small town off 81 in Virginia at this place, Montgomery, which we discovered on our last road trip. And so we took a little detour to stop and get some ice cream. I got what they call poro birds, essentially an avocado. And so number 3, the prompt is for Detour, a book that you weren't planning to read, but here you are reading it. And I'm going to go with, it's a bit of a cheat, I guess, but Emma M. Lyon, Volume 7, which I'm actually currently reading because it was not originally on my official TBR for the month. It's one that I kind of wanted to get to and have been wanting to read. So it's kind of a bit of a stretch. I guess it doesn't really answer the question fully, but that's what I'm going to go with for now. I'm reading Emma M. Lyon. I also have a whole bunch of books and options in my bag, my travel bag, and on my Kindle that I may crack open as the vacation continues, but we'll see. And look at those guys eating their ice cream behind me.
Prompt number 4 is rest stop. And we actually did not stop at any rest stops on this trip, but we made plenty of stops. We did, however, break up our trip. It's about 14 hours from where we are to Missouri. So we stopped in Nashville overnight to break up our trip and rest there before continuing on. We also met my sisters there, stopped for breakfast and had this delicious cinnamon biscuit at Biscuit Love. Also went to the Nashville Farmers Market, and I stopped by Fisk University, the Jubilee Hall, to take some pictures because I've always found the Jubilee singers to be very inspiring. So that was our rest stop, if you will. As far as the prompt goes, it is to name a book that you find restful. And I don't really have an answer for this. I do know that there are times when it's difficult to concentrate on a book, times of great stress, times when you're anxious or fearful, or you've just got a lot going on and you can't concentrate on anything. So that's when I like to read books that are shorter, that are lighter, that don't have a great deal of depth to them in terms of, intellectual requirement. And so for that, I usually gravitate towards Regency romances or Jane Austen retellings. And in fact, I have a handful of those on my shelf right now, some that I checked out from the library that I would really like to get to. One is The Diary of Edmund Bertram. And so it's a take on Mansfield Park from Edmund Bertram's perspective. And since I recently reread Mansfield Park, that one is definitely a book that I would like to get to. And I know it's not going to be a demanding read, so it will be relaxing and restful in that sense. And then I have one by, I think it's by Sophie Irwin, A Lady's Guide to Scandal, maybe, which is a Regency rom-com. And so I always love a good Regency rom-com if it's really well written. I enjoy those. That's my go-to comfort reads for sure. So this was our little stop in Nashville. This is the Jubilee Hall. If you've never heard of the Jubilee Singers and how they were instrumental in the founding of Fisk University and in funding it in the early days, definitely learn about them. They're still a group, the Jubilee Singers, that sings. Very cool. I'm going to skip prompt number 5 for the moment and go to prompt number 6, which is, are we there yet? And the last few hours of a trip, or the last section of a trip, takes the longest. Am I right? Can I get an amen on that? So the leg of our trip between Nashville and Missouri seemed to take forever, but we broke it up with some fun stops for iced tea at a coffee shop in Paducah, Kentucky, ice cream in Charleston, Missouri, and dinner in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. And so the prompt for this one is a book that took you a long time to read. And well, Count of Monte Cristo, I gave myself, was it 3 months to read that? I think I read it over March, April, and May. And I needed every bit of those 3 months to read it with several chapters a day. I don't know, I think I read 10 to 15 pages every day. And it took me all of that time to read it. I think Les Miserables last year also took me a couple of months to read. That is like 1,200 pages. I am currently reading the, I say I'm currently reading. I started more than a year ago, and The Dead Shall Rise by Steve Oney, which is a nonfiction about a historic crime that took place in 20th century Atlanta. And I do find it incredibly interesting, but I set it down months and months ago and I haven't picked it up again. That probably is going to be the record for the amount of time it took me to read a book.
Number 7 is Made It. And we have made it. We are at my parents' house right now. And the book prompt is the most recent book that you read. And as I was thinking about it, I realized this really should be my answer for prompt number 3, which was Detour, a book that you weren't planning to read, but you read anyway. And I'm going to switch things around. So the book I said for that was Emma M. Lyon, which was not technically on my TBR of books I definitely 100% intended to read in July, but at the same time, it was one I wanted to read in July if I had time. So it was kind of on my TBR. It was one I wanted to read, so it didn't really fit the prompt. So what I should have said for that one was Cotillion by Georgette Hare, which was not on my TBR at all, but I ended up reading it because it was the winner of the poll pick that I did last week or whatever. That should have been my answer. So really, Emma M. Lyon Volume 7 is the most recent book that I read. I finished it yesterday while we were on the road. Really loved it. I'm not sure I love where the story is going, but there is a lot left in the series to come, so I'm pretty sure it's not going to end the way it seems to be leading at the moment. We'll find out, I guess. But anyway, that is the most recent book that I read. So what I said for prompt 3 really should be for prompt 7. So now for prompt 7, I'm going to say what I should have said for prompt 3, which is Cotillion by Georgette Hare, which I am currently reading, have not finished it yet, and was not at all on my TBR for July 100%. It is a reread for me. I am remembering as I'm reading it now. I definitely have read this one before. I do remember finding it very amusing when I read it before. There are some funny characters in this. The male and female main characters in this story are they're very different from your typical hero and heroine. So and it promises to be very much of a madcap, but in a fun way, not as much in the unbelievable, ridiculous way of the other Georgette Hare book that I read earlier this year, which was not as good, Pharaoh's Daughter. This one will be in a much more enjoyable sense. So that is my answer, really for prompt 3, but I'm saying it now at prompt 7.
Before we return to prompt number 5 and finish out this tag, let's take a quick little interlude and I'll just share with you some clips of our relaxing time that we had visiting my parents. My sons helped out with Grandma and Grandpa with some yard work. My oldest son got to ride a riding lawnmower for the first time, which he enjoyed. And we visited the town closest to them, Poplar Bluff, to go to our favorite coffee shop there, which is a fantastic coffee shop in downtown Poplar Bluff, and one of our favorites. And they had this little free library there. I found that the little free libraries in Missouri were mostly in places like coffee shops. They weren't necessarily in, those freestanding bookcases. And I saw so many vintage books. I should have grabbed that one because it looked like a fun, Western, westward expansion, romance novel. But this was a very well-stocked little free library. I didn't get anything, but I did enjoy some super yummy coffee with my sisters. And after this, we tried out the local library just to see what we could see.
Anything good? Sarah. Oh, and Rinaldi. Second bend in the river. More Anne Rinaldi.
So that was clearly one of the little free libraries that I found, and it was on the grounds of the local public library in Poplar Bluff, which was started in the early 1900s by a woman, and I believe this building was built in the 30s, I want to say, and it surprisingly has a 300-seat auditorium, which I did not get to see, but I thought that was kind of interesting for a town of that size to have it in the library. Anyway, it was a lovely library that totally reflected the community, in which it existed and honored the woman who founded it over 100 years ago. Another fun spot we like to go when visiting my parents is Caledonia, Missouri, which is a really, really tiny, super cute little town that has lots of shops and the sort of like thrift store, antique kind of shops where you can do like a lot of picking and stuff. But good luck going on a day when all the shops are open. I have not yet been there when everything is open. And the day we were there, a Tuesday, there was not a lot going on. But the General Mercantile is always open, and it is a super cute like general store sort of thing, and they have the candy as you saw, and they have all these antiques and fun little finds and fudge, and they do have a little coffee shop there, and they also have some of the best ice cream. We think about this ice cream even when we are not there, and we make a point to always go there to get some ice cream. And there are some other shops there. We went to this one which happened to be open, which was super cute. You walk down this little garden alley walkway that is just charmingly decorated with all kinds of little statuettes and figurines and plant decor that of course you can purchase, and then you go inside to the super cute and adorable little shop that has more of the same. I got myself a little wind chime thing that you can stick into a plant, and anyways, it was just a fun little visit to Caledonia, Missouri. So now we are returning to prompt 5, which is Vista Point. And the book prompt is a beautiful book cover or content. I will get to the book in a moment. We didn't really see any vistas per se, but we did do some sightseeing. One was we went on this excursion on a train ride. Our train car was almost 100 years old, and the volunteers who run this excursion, they take you on a 2-hour round trip train ride through the countryside of Missouri near Cape Girardeau, and they enact a scene where the Jesse James gang robs the train and kills the sheriff, and they provide a lot of historical information and context along the way. And it was a really fun ride, and we enjoyed it so much, had a fantastic time. And I wish I had taken some video of the stop that we made where they had this little setup with a jail and a little church and a bonfire where we roasted s'mores and ate watermelon and stuff, but I completely neglected to do that. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. And we also went to the Cape, as they call it around there, Cape Girardeau. And Cape Girardeau was founded in the late 1700s, early 1800s by a Louis Lorimer, who was a French trader, and he established a trading post in the Cape along the Mississippi River, which you see here. And it is a beautiful little old town, and the river walls have these paintings all along both sides, and they represent various important scenes in the history of the settling of Missouri. And they also have, further down the wall where I did not get video clips, they have paintings of famous Missourians and people who hail from Missouri. So it's really a lovely little town to go visit and walk around. This is called the Red House. We got there not too long after it closed for the day, so I was not able to take the tour or anything, but I walked around. This is the trading post, or I should say it's a replica of the trading post established by Louis Lorimer in the late 1700s to trade with I think it was the Shawnee Indians primarily who were there, and other Indians who lived in that area. And also, Lewis and Clark stopped here to pick up supplies and replenish their supplies on their way as they were exploring the Mississippi River and the area that was part of the Louisiana Purchase. This is one of 4 forts, very imaginatively named A, B, C, and D, that were established during the Civil War. And this particular one is the only remaining one. And as you can see, there's not much remaining to it. and unfortunately the gorgeous view is a little bit blocked, but these were our Vista Points that we enjoyed. And now my answer to the prompt, which was a beautiful book that's beautiful in cover or content. I chose this, which was published this year by the Jane Austen House. Right there, that's the cottage where Jane Austen lived in Chawton, on the grounds of her brother's estate. And this is just an absolutely beautiful book. Glossy, full color pages with illustrations and information throughout the year, all about Jane Austen. You guys, you know I love this book.
Well, I hope you enjoyed coming along with me on our road trip to Missouri by way of Nashville. And I hope that you enjoyed all of the sights that we saw and the time that we had with our family and all of the book suggestions and my answers to the prompts. As for tagging someone, I have no idea if you have a road trip planned in the near future, but if you have a booktube channel and you have a road trip planned, this is the perfect tag for you to do. So tag, you're it, if that's the case. And be sure to check out Em's original video if you haven't seen it yet. It's a lot of fun. And happy road tripping, everyone. I will see you next time.